Well, these are the rubber gloves used by emergency workers to handle victims and used by investigators to handle evidence. And at several crime and death scenes, our news crews noticed the discarded gloves were still there hours after responders had left the scene. Blue rubber gloves litter the street and the front lawn of this Iowa Avenue house, the location of Louisville's first murder of the year. Police say a man was killed and his home set on fire. The gloves are worn by first responders, from EMS to firefighters to police. We found discarded rubber gloves at another homicide scene back in September. Police say a man was killed in his house in the Chickasaw neighborhood. And in this apartment complex parking lot, blue rubber gloves and other debris mark the spot where the coroner says a man apparently died of heat stroke in August.
It's pretty important to get that stuff up off the ground, out of crime scene, so the public can get access to it.
Kyle Brewer collects evidence from crime victims who come into Floyd Memorial Hospital. He was an evidence technician for 25 years with the New Albany Police Department. Brewer says rubber gloves like these may contain more than our eyes can see.
It contains diseases such as hepatitis B and AIDS. And there's a hazard or risk. Minimal with AIDS. AIDS lasts a few hours because it's exposed to the air. And hepatitis B lasts 7 days in dry blood.
The used rubber gloves should be thrown away in one of these leak-proof biohazard bags, according to LMPD's standard operating procedures. The procedures say gloves shall be removed as soon as feasible upon leaving the scene of contamination. We played our video of improperly discarded rubber gloves for Carrie Richardson, who speaks for the city's law enforcement and emergency responders.
I understand the concern that people have about people seeing used medical equipment around. However, just in this time period that you've shown us, from summer until now, we've answered 350,000 calls for service. You showed us 8 gloves.
Not exactly a fair comparison, because not every one of those 350,000 emergency calls required rubber gloves. And we certainly could not be at every scene where first responders used gloves to check if they left the gloves behind. So who's responsible for cleaning up?
And since other agencies are going to be visiting our scenes, say the coroner, private ambulances services, and they may also be using rubber gloves, it's difficult to say that there's one point person responsible for the final walkthrough.
But debris left out,
Yeah, I know it happens from personal experience.
Can end up in the wrong hands.
And there's been times where somebody would try to pick up an article here and there. And that's why you have to be very careful about your crime scenes and accident scenes. Protect the area, not only for evidence, but to protect the public.
Now, the Metro Health Department says it has no reported cases of illnesses contracted through those discarded gloves. Still, Metro government spokesperson Carrie Richardson says officials will remind emergency workers to clean up better, but she says she's satisfied with their track record. Julie Tam, Fox 41 News. Since we aired the story last week, some of you have told us about times police and emergency workers have left trash, including blue gloves, at your homes. Well, today they're taking steps to try to make sure that does not happen anymore. These blue gloves might contain bodily fluids or other potential health hazards, or they might not. The bottom line, we caught on tape used rubber gloves left behind at crime and accident scenes by Louisville's first responders, and they had the chance to clean up. Police stayed on the scenes for hours.
Even if it's only for non-hazardous waste, I think it's a litter problem.
Councilmember Judy Green says her constituents have told her they're concerned about the problem. So Wednesday afternoon, a Metro Council committee put LMPD and Metro EMS on the spot.
With the recent notoriety being brought to the media about it, we wanted to assure the public that we are taking concern about that.
We spend a lot of time and effort organizing groups and spending our neighborhood fund dollars and that sort of thing to keep our districts clean. And of course, when something like this is on the news, it's a little slap in the face that our own agencies are leaving litter behind.
Major David Wood says from now on, if LMPD is involved, LMPD will clean up, even if other agencies leave trash behind.
We'll take responsibility for the scene. We're normally the last ones to leave and turn it back over to whoever the caretaker of the property is.
EMS is not changing its cleanup policy. Supervisors are just reminding paramedics and EMTs to clean up.
I think we're doing a pretty good job.
Do you think there's room for improvement, though, even though you may not leave gloves at every scene, but at some of them for sure?
There is always room for improvement.
LMPD says it is still revising its policy and will release the final version soon. Julie Tam, Fox 41 News.